Our next section is going to talk about reflections. It's our second type of transformation that we're going to do. Now, reflections, to me, are all about symmetries. And you guys have studied symmetries before, maybe, where you take a shape and you picture folding it across a line so that the image is the exact same on one side of the line as the other side of the line. So you can see here, I've drawn a triangle, and I've got this fold, and I'm going to fold it over and reflect that image across the fold. So we're going to take those 3 points, we'll fold it over, and you will see that when I reflect them across the fold, we get these 3 points over here. Now I'm going to connect those with a line so we can see what the triangle is going to look like. So 1, 2, 3, and you will see a couple of things. Number one, this image is exactly the same as over here, but it's just been turned backwards. So the reflection has flipped it around. There's 2 things that we need to take from this, and I'm going to illustrate both of those with a single line from this point in the middle to its image. Number one, we see that the distance from here to the fold is the same as from here to the fold. So these 2 distances on this side and that side are exactly the same. And number 2, this line that connects them is perpendicular to the fold. We're going to use those 2 things to do a few reflections, which we will see over on the other board. All right, so here we are doing reflections, and just to highlight the language on this, sometimes you will hear people saying reflection in the line, and sometimes you will hear people saying reflection across the line. I prefer the word across, but some people like to write reflection in the line, and then they'll specify the line. So I've drawn a triangle right here. We are going to do 3 different reflections of this triangle. Our first one is in or across the x-axis. So I can't very well fold this gigantic piece of paper or my whiteboard, so I'm just going to picture the fold right here on the x-axis. Now, if I were to fold this, this triangle would end up upside down underneath the x-axis right there. So I'm going to use my 2 observations. Number 1, my perpendicular line from here to the line. And number 2, the distance that it will be the same on one side as the other. So this perpendicular line has a distance of 2 right there, and across the other side, 1, 2, we get our reflected point. So if this one is A, we call this A prime. This one, the perpendicular line again goes down here, and we go a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on the other side, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put that over there. If this one's called B, we'll call this one B prime. This one, the perpendicular line has a distance of 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the other side, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. If this one had a name of C, this one would be called C prime. Draw our triangle right there, and we have an upside down picture of the triangle that we had before. Now there's a lot of lines here, so I'm going to erase those so you can see the picture a little bit more clearly. I use them to do the reflection, but they are not actually part of the picture itself. So we have our reflection across or in the x-axis. Let's do our second one across the y-axis. Now you'll notice that the y-axis cuts through the middle of this shape. I did that on purpose to show you what happens if the reflection or the fold is in the middle. This C is going to be reflected to the opposite side of that y-axis, which will put it over on this side. Same with B and A, but these are going to get flipped over onto that side, so we're kind of like spinning this shape around. All right, so let's draw our line perpendicular to the y-axis this time. 1, 2, 3. So on the other side, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and this will be our C prime. This one, we're going to go 1, and over onto the other side, we're going to go 1. So this will be B prime. So you notice that they've flipped over onto opposite sides of the line. And A, 1, and 1. So this will be our A prime. Connect those points. We have A prime to B prime to C prime. Here's our new triangle, and again we can erase those lines we used to draw the shape and get our triangle reflected like this. All right, let's do one more. We're going to take this shape and we are now going to reflect it across the line y equals 5. So let me clean this up here. We draw a triangle. All right, now one of the things I see that causes confusion or mistakes is the axes on this one. We've got to ignore them this time. They're drawn, but we have to make sure that we don't pay attention to them because our fold is not on the axis, either one. Our fold is on the line y equals 5. So I'm going to draw that up here. Here is our fold, and I'm going to pretend that that is the only thing that I see. So these points are going to go across that fold. I don't need to pay attention to the x or the y-axis. Now this one is going to go perpendicular to that line. It's 1 away, so on the other side it'll be 1 away. This one is 1, 2, 3 away, so on the other side it'll go 1, 2, 3 away. And we have it right there. Now this point right here is right on the axis. If it is on the axis, it's not going to flip over to either side, so this one stays exactly where it is. And here is our reflection across that line. Thank you.